Hey guys, this is Mr. Grice for Algebra 2 Unit 0.2 Notes, Day 1. Today we're going to be talking about, that's right, an introduction to polynomials. Our learning target for today is to be able to classify, add, subtract, and multiply polynomials. So let's go ahead and start with a little review. Algebraic expressions. Remember that algebraic expressions can contain numbers, variables, and operations, but no equal signs. Okay, so if you look below, we've got three different examples of what an algebraic expression looks like. Okay, now within that algebraic expression, there are two things that we're going to be discussing. The first is terms, and terms are separated by addition and subtraction signs, okay? So let's go ahead and take a look at our terms. So in example number 1, there are two sets of terms. There's the negative 9x and the 13. In example number 2, there are three terms, okay? Now, they're separated by the addition or subtraction. So we have 11, negative 7w, and the negative w squared. Do you see the four terms in example number 3? What are they? Yeah, there's the 11y cubed, the negative 7y, there's an 8, and then there's the negative y squared. Beautiful. So we've talked about the terms. Now the last thing we're going to talk about are the coefficients. And those are the numbers multiplied in front of the, in front of the variable. Okay, so only if there's a variable is there a coefficient. So in example number 1, there's only one variable, which means there's only one coefficient. Okay, that's the number out in front. In example number 2, there are two variables, negative 7, and then in front of the w, or w squared, there's a negative 1. What about in example number 3? How many variables are there? Okay, there are three variables. So what are the three coefficients? 11, negative 7, and negative 1. Okay? All right, so just remember that within each algebraic expression, we will be looking at terms and coefficients. Okay, coefficients are very, very important, especially when we are combining like terms. So here we go. Let's get started with these definitions. Okay, so with combining like terms, that's when we are adding or subtracting the coefficients of like terms, okay? And like terms means the same variable and the same exponent, okay? So that's where we really have to pay attention to those coefficients. Now, standard form is writing terms with exponents in decreasing order, okay? Decreasing order means biggest to smallest. Now, if you need more time, please pause the video so you can copy those down. Okay. Now, let's take a look at this one thing at a time. All right. So within this first group that we're talking about right here, okay, we are talking about naming polynomials by their degree, okay? When we're looking at the degree, we're really taking a look at their highest exponent, okay? Right here, the highest exponent, okay? So a constant is a polynomial without a variable, okay? If it doesn't have a variable, an example of that could be the number 7 or negative 24 or 1/2, okay? Anything like that. No variables at all. A linear, okay, so the first thing we talked about was a constant, okay? Now with a linear, it's a polynomial with a degree of the highest exponent of 1, okay? So if we have something to a degree of 1, we could have 5x plus 6 or negative 2x. There's only a variable. Okay, let me do one more. We'll do negative 1/2 x plus y. Okay, when we have a variable, the highest exponent is 1. Okay, you guys starting to get the hang of this? So if we have a quadratic, my highest exponent is 2. Okay, so 3x squared plus 6x minus 1. Negative 1/2 y squared plus x squared. Okay, I'm trying to be a little tricky as I can. Okay, and then the last one that we're going to be discussing is cubic, and that's when our highest exponent is 3. All right, so it could just be x cubed or y to the third minus x squared plus 6. Okay, whatever it is, the highest exponent is 3. So that's when we're talking about naming the polynomial by the degree. Oh, sorry. Now, another way to classify it is by the number of terms. Okay, so when we're looking at the terms, the first one is a monomial. Okay, if it's a monomial, it means there's only one term there. So maybe it's a 5 or x cubed or negative 1/2 y squared. There's only one thing there. When we're looking at terms, it does not matter about the exponent, okay? So with the binomial, bi, okay, meaning 2, okay? We could have negative 2x plus 6 or negative 3y squared minus x. Okay, I'm just coming up with these from the top of my head. The numbers don't matter, it's just how many terms are there. Okay, so the monomial had one term. The binomial had 2. The trinomial is going to have 3. So negative 3x squared plus y minus 4. Okay, let's be real fun here. X squared y plus 2y minus 4/7. Okay, once again, it doesn't matter, it's just that there are 3 terms there. Now, if they're anything over 3, okay, so more than 3 terms, that's called a polynomial. Poly meaning many, okay? So, 2 ways to look at it. First, we look at the highest degree, and then we count the number of terms. So, looking at this part right here, it's telling us to simplify to each expression, then classify it according to its degree and number of terms. So for number 1, do we have any like terms? Anything that we can combine? Yeah, the negative 4 and the 2. So when we're writing this in standard form, the 2x squared comes out first, plus 3x, and then negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. So my highest exponent is squared, which means that it's going to be quadratic. And then counting the number of terms, 1, 2, 3, it's a quadratic trinomial. Okay, does that make sense? Let's take a look at our next one. Do I have any like terms? I don't know, but let's put this in order. So the negative 2y cubed comes out front, plus the 3y squared, plus 4y. Okay, I don't have any like terms, but my highest exponent is 3, which means it's a cubic. And then I have 1, 2, 3. This is a cubic trinomial. Okay, look at 3. So look for like terms. Yeah, the 7x and the negative 7x, those are cancel. And then we're left with 9 minus 12. Well, 9 minus 12 is negative 3. There are no variables, okay? No variables, so this is a constant. And I only have one term, so it's a constant monomial. Okay, for 4, 5, and 6, I'm going to let you guys try those on your own. Remember, combine like terms first and then name it. Good luck. Make sure to pause that video. Okay, so looking at number 4, the only like terms we had was the 1 and the negative 2. So writing that in standard form, we get 7y cubed plus 6y squared minus 9y minus 1. Now I circled the highest exponent to 3, so that means it's cubic. And then when we count our terms, we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So if it's more than 4, it's called a polynomial. So we have a cubic polynomial. Now for number 5, our 3n squared and our negative 3n squared, those cancel. We have an n plus n, which gives us 2n, and then that minus 8 comes down. So the highest exponent is a 1. If it doesn't have an exponent, kind of like how that ended, I just added it so I know that it's 1. That means linear, and there were 2 terms, so it's a linear binomial. And in number 6, everything canceled except for that 3w squared. So since it's squared, that means it's quadratic. And then there's only one term, so it's a quadratic monomial. Okay? All right, guys, well, that's going to be the first video for the first side, and on the back side, we'll make another video. Okay, so this is Mr. Grice signing off for Algebra 2 Unit 0.2 Notes, Day 1, Video 1. Remember, the back side will be a separate video. Thanks for watching.